And welcome to Syncretism. This is the Santo Bonacci show. Santo had a couple of things come up, so he's asked me, Creative Guy, to sit in for him tonight with special guest Scott. We love Scott. We love Scott a lot because he's causing some stir-ups down under. And of course, we have the lovely Cindy joining us again. She's not aware of it yet, but I'm grooming her to have her own show on Freedom Reigns. But that's probably the first she's heard of it. How's it going, guys? We got you?
Wow. That's going good. I hear a major echo.
Oh, that's good. That's because I'm not muted. Here you go.
Okay. Well, I'm doing just fine in the not-so-sunny California today. It's a pleasure to meet you, Scott. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
Wonderful.
You know, we love hanging out with you Aussie boys, I got to tell you.
Well, we can certainly say the weather is a whole lot better down here at the moment. We've got crystal clear blue skies and not a cloud in the sky. It's probably about 25 degrees or about 75 or so at your end. And, yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
I was going to say, we speak fluent Celsius up here. It's the Imperial Fahrenheit down in the U.S. there. So I guess we're bitemporal.
I'm getting a little better at it after spending a month in Japan and conversing with all these people from around the different parts of the globe that use Celsius. I'm getting better at it.
Sweet.
Exactly. So I guess I sent you a little document, Scott. Did you have a chance to have a look at it?
I've had a chance to have a quick squiz in between taking a friend to the airport, but it's shaping up as pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, you see, this is the problem with us two spirits. We like putting everything in the mirror. And I got some brand new ammo for you that they're not going to like at all because this puppy's going out to the world tomorrow. Almost done, just doing a little fine-tuning on it. And you got the working copy, which is the most complete version of it. And I'll have it all finished off tomorrow. And there's going to be a lot of people around the world getting it, and they're not going to like it. Merry Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
It's shaping up as, that's going to open a few can of worms. Yeah,
well, you see, this time last year, I had just finished writing Denic Ultimatum Revirio Verum, and as you know, within a couple of weeks of releasing that document, middle of January, I sent it out January 13th of this year, and then I sent out the default notice on the 31st. You know how they like the numbers 31 and 13, so I like doing the mirror stuff with them too. I play the magic with them. And on February 11th, they SWAT raided my house. So good luck with no fixed address now, guys. Enjoy. You have my cell phone, though, so enjoy. We're going to open up a few different things, a few different perspectives. And once what has been presented in that document is really self-evident to you, you're gonna finally understand the true power that you wield. And that's exactly what I was intending with it, and this one has been a couple of weeks in the making, and I got to tell you, you know where I'm getting all my clues to find my way to this? You're not going to believe this, because I figured out the matrix. I got most of the information from some cartoons, a couple of movies, and Black's Law 9th edition magic book, because it is a magic book, and actually. I've got a document I want to share with a lot of people as well, Black's Law Magic Book, and they'll understand the power of it. We are living in Oz, just like you. Anyway, so what do you got going on?
Well, we've had some really interesting success stories lately with some of the notices that we've been putting in. Granted, we're dealing on a real simplistic kind of level. We're not looking at the kind of stuff in this document that you shared with me. And simply all we're doing is calling out one particular level of the fraud that's going on. We got the bunch of guys calling themselves government that say they do one thing and are actually doing another. So at just that simple level, we've been calling them out on that. And a friend of mine actually recently had a situation where his daughter was driving his car, and this car was unregistered, and she was on a mobile phone, which these guys don't like. And so they pulled her over and started giving her a hard time for doing whatever she was doing. And it came out that it wasn't her car. And of course they asked, well, whose car is it? And once she told them whose car it was, these guys, their attitude changed very dramatically. And what had happened prior to that was my friend had written into the police department actually asking for evidence that they were real police and not just working for a company. Gave them a second opportunity, formalised that they were not real police and were just a corporation, sent in some terms and conditions as an offer for their acceptance. And so these guys were well aware of these terms and conditions, and of course on the side of the road, once this woman, or once the police found out whose car that they were really dealing with, their attitude changed real quick, and they said, looking at their watches, kind of, yes, well, you have a nice day. We'll take the matter up with him. You have a nice day, man. And
that's the power of knowledge. And it honestly, I don't want to cut you short, but I need people to get what you just said. One of the things that is happening and has been for a very long time is it costs a lot of money to program these cops. Okay. There's a lot of programming that these robots have to get put into to become the automatons that they are. And what's happening more and more is that every time they come into contact with people that actually know what's going on, that actually know how to handle themselves, the last thing they want it done is to have their cops educated with truth. So basically they're getting to a point now where they're under orders to just leave it alone and walk away from it. So that's just, you just offered up proof in the pudding of something we've known for a very long time. So carry on.
Yeah, thank you. So, this was this had quite an effect on the guy who had obviously served these documents. And the other interesting one came about. Another friend had put the same documentation to the police, and was on the side of the road. He got pulled over for driving his car that was unregistered, and they started giving him a hard time, and he reverted to, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this, and you can't do that. And we spoke about it afterwards, and we said, well, we've offered these terms and conditions to the police. Surely what that means is you've said you're happy for the police to perform whatever action that was on your fee schedule in exchange for a certain amount of money. And he went, well, oh, yeah, I suppose I can't really tell them that they can't do that sort of stuff anymore. That's like telling customers to go away. And no business does that in a hurry. So next time he was out there, he changed his tune and he went, oh, yeah, okay, you want to arrest me? Here you go, let's go. And the look on the face of the policeman was just absolutely priceless, apparently, because he didn't know what to do. He was expecting this fear-based, you have to do this, you have to do that kind of action. And when the attitude was, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I can be arrested. Let me know when you'd like to do that, and I'll prepare an invoice for you. And the mindset change in this guy was just fascinating, and I think more interesting was the look of absolute shock and horror on the face of the policeman at someone who wanted to get arrested or who was happy to get arrested, obviously in exchange for the money. And that was an exercise in itself. But ultimately, I think they left him alone again, and you have a nice day, sir. Going back to what you said.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and this is the power that everyone has. Really, if you want to cut to the quick with the guys, you might as well tell them exactly what they are. They're armed thugs out doing business for other armed thugs under the guise of some corporate fiction nonsense of a uniform of a corporation that absolutely has no power except what they have in their own little programmed mind. So I just call them up for what they are. They're just a bunch of thieves. And I would go as far as to say that someone gets pulled over and says, well, you're obviously here to steal my car, steal money from me, because that's what you guys do. You have no interest in anything that is legal or lawful. You have you have an agenda. You work for a private corporation, and of course they are seeking profits, and the only way they can get them is to come out and steal them at gunpoint. So I hope you understand that you are in fact just a thief, an armed thief, and so do your best. But you might as well know what you are before you do it. And it's making them accountable peacefully in the mirror and tell them exactly what they are. They're just a bunch of armed thieves. They're pirates. Long and short of it.
Yeah. And the struggle that they'll go through is to get from that place where they believe that they are public servants, and then they've got to go through that struggle to get to the truth, where all of the things you've just laid out have got to register with them. And that's a journey and a half for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hey, C, jump in, baby. Just like I said, I'm trying to get you groomed up to be a beautiful host.
Oh, I'm here. I was just somebody was asking a question in the chat room, and I was looking for a link, and I was actually fixing to post Scott's link in the chat room also. No, I completely agree, especially on the part with the cops. They are programmed robots, and once you, I believe Santos posted a link of two gentlemen in their home had a couple police, whatever you want to call them, officers show up at their door and they had a search warrant, and they wanted to search the home to see if they had a television that was linked up to, I guess, the cable. They have a cable line tax or some sort of tax that the two gentlemen that were in the home actually knew their rights and did not allow the police to come inside their home. And it was very enlightening video, and I've been seeing a lot more of these videos coming out of people getting stopped here at routine checkpoints along the highways here in the United States, and they have their cameras ready, or video. It's either their cell phones or their video cameras ready, and they know what's coming, and they know how to handle themselves. One fella in particular just flat out said, no, I will not give you my information. I will not show you my papers. I thought we lived in, a free country. Is this communist China? Are we in Mexico or what? I'm just traveling to work, and you guys are making me late and really getting on my nerves. And they would holler over for a fella to check the tags and, I guess, make sure he has no outstanding warrants or whatnot, and then send him on his way. He never had to show a thing. So when you empower yourself with knowledge and learn your rights and what you can and actually do, and how much power you actually have and how much power they don't really have over you, it really is awakening very fast across the planet. I really appreciate the people who put this information out there. You, Santos, Scott, all of you guys are doing a wonderful job of awakening people and teaching people exactly what to do and what to say. So I'm honored to know you.
Well, I'm kind of hoping to share the coup de grace for everyone tonight, especially for those. I mean, this applies worldwide, but especially for those in the U.S. Very important piece of information. Now, just in case anyone is wondering, and this applies worldwide, by the way, you have to remember this, that any law that is written through the Bar Society applies worldwide. All, I think, 65 million or so laws. Not trying to confuse things. But here's something for Americans in particular. Just because, people, when they see Constitution or United States versus Wade, it's more comfortable, but this applies worldwide. And given that Canada is actually owned by a United States corporation, so is Australia, by the way, this applies as well. It's called a Wade hearing, and I got this clue from Gravity Falls episode called The Time Traveler Pig, and the pig's name was Waddles. And you got to pay attention in the magic world, everything comes in threes, right? And the first thing that resonated with me was when Mabel, one of the main characters, won a pig, and she named it Waddles, and she said, Waddles, Waddles, my pig Waddles. Oh, 3 times, so let's look up the closest thing in Black's Law to Waddles. And here's what came up, boys and girls, so check this shit out. Wade hearing. 1969. It's actually from 1926 ruling. Criminal law. A pretrial hearing in which the defendant contests validity of his or her out-of-court identification. If the court finds that the identification was tainted by unconstitutional methods, maybe kidnapping, perhaps, the prosecution cannot use the identification and must link the defendant to the crime by other means. Does it get clearer than that? Right in Black's magic book. Okay? So let's have a look at validity of his or her out-of-court identification. Well, I'll tell you why it's not valid and why it's unconstitutional, and that's worldwide, is the fact that the birth certificate is an unlawful document until it is placed in a lawful repository. That was by command of, as commanded by Richard I. And these things are all still in place, guys. There's no such thing as a defunct law. You just got to know where to look, and you got to dig deep. So the basic thing here is, and I proved this, from my perspective in terms of how I was trying to travel to Ireland last year to take my dad's ashes home. I went to the British High Consulate, and I had numerous conversations with a gentleman by the name of Page, who no longer works there. What are the odds? They moved somewhere, but he had to be honest with me because I was asking the right questions. And I said to him very clearly on numerous occasions to make sure that he got it. He answered me straight out on the third questioning of it, though, and I know that for a fact. Looking back, I said to him, I said, listen, any use of the name, because I don't own that particular name, is pure fraud, and you don't want me committing fraud, do you? Well, no, we don't want you doing that. Oh, okay, so then it is used, and that's coming from the British High Consulate. Like I said, I'm from Northern Ireland, so I was kidnapped out of the jurisdiction of the island and placed in Northern Ireland, which is the United Kingdom jurisdiction. And as a result, here's the thing, though. If it's unlawful and illegal for me to use the name, then by default it is unlawful and illegal for anyone else to use it and make a claim on it. Because until that birth certificate makes it ashore, literally, getting past customs, which is where it's stuck at right now, and I have the opening line in my little writ here, absolutely making that crystal clear. Where was it? Just to share with you guys. Okay, whereas my STAR contract, law-informed birth certificate, is in custody with the Registrar General and given under seal of the General Register Office, Belfast, Northern Ireland, as claimed on the actual certified copy, my original copy has not been deposited in a local repository, namely the King's Exchequer at Westminster, as commanded by Richard I. The fact that they were able to copy it at the Registrar General tells me that.
Right.
So I know it's not a lawful document, and it says right on my birth certificate not to be used. Warning: a certificate is not. Here, let me just grab it and read it. I carry a copy because anytime anyone needs to get caught in fraud, well, I'm your girl. I'll catch you. Yeah, please. You want to play entrapment with me? There you go. No problem. Okay, here it is. I'm just opening it up right now just to share this with you guys because I shared this many times and it's finally sinking in with people. Because it says right on it, warning, a certificate is not evidence of identity. Okay, then just like your movie, Scott, what the fuck is it? If it's not proof of identity, what is it? Hey, that's wrong.
Just quickly to go back a little bit earlier on there, you mentioned the Wade hearing. The Wade hearing was for the pretrial hearing to contest the validity of the out-of-court identification?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right, so out-of-court identification is key in this, in as much as when you step into this court, or any one of these Ponzi courts, they basically want you to be the estate, or the all-caps version.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And this is why I like talking with people like you and Cindy and Santo and Tony and so many others, because you guys actually get it. Right up close and personal. And I'll tell you something else. Your kids, if you have any children, they're not your heirs. You are the heir to your children because you created that. Now, I'll tell you why, and you have to pay attention to, you're going to love this one, Scott, because you've done the sailing thing, yeah? You're a captain. Yep. Well, here's what you are. You're a Ward of Admiralty, a seaman. You can spell it one of ways, right? So let's just go with the sound of it because that's where the spells really are. So, a ward of admiralty is a seaman, so called because of the legal view that a seaman in contractual matters should be treated as the beneficiary and the other contracting party as a fiduciary, aka mom, because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. Well, that's right, because seaman, he just shows up to the port, makes his deposit, and for the next 9 months, mom is busy building the constructive trust. So she has a more equitable claim in the net finished product because she built it. Right? So that's why it's an inequitability of the bargaining positions. That's why the seaman is the beneficiary and the egg is the fiduciary. That's why they want the birth certificates, because what they want mom and dad to do is to give up their inheritance, aka their children, so that the state can have it and claim the fruit of their labor. It's all backwards. Do you see how that works?
God, it's backwards, right?
It's amazing. It's right there in your face.
So just go over this again. We've got mother and father who essentially are treated as beneficiaries.
Mom is the fiduciary. You got to think in terms of construction here, right? Mom is the builder. Dad is contractor to the building. And what he does is he gets in the contract with mom. The agreement is the deposit of semen for the egg. They get together, let's build it. Okay, well, mom's got the big end of the deal there because she's the one that has to actually build it, right? She spends 9 months building that little constructive trust. And, of course, as a result of that, the dad or the contractor, the semen contractor, is the beneficiary of that building once it's complete. He gets to enjoy it as much as mom, but there's an inequitability there in that dad only, gave hopefully a little more than 3 minutes of his time to, and it's not like it wasn't a good time for pop, you know what I'm saying? So it's a bit of a balance here, but it's like, somebody walking up and putting $10 down on the table and saying, build me a house, and the house gets all built. Well, the dad can live there, but he doesn't own it, if you know what I'm saying. And they have to, this is why the surnames for marriage, that's why they want the marriage license, so they can own the marriage, because that's the actual contract of agreement between them. So my advice to anyone out there is marriage license? No. Do you need to drive each other, or do you need to fish each other? I don't think so.
Never.
But you see the trap, though, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I just want to take this one step further. This will help clarify it for everyone. So now what I want to do is reread that Word of Admiralty. Oh, by the way, this came out of the cartoons as well. Yeah, I shit you not. Anyway, Word of Admiralty, I want you to keep in mind semen and egg. Okay? Beneficiary is semen, egg is fiduciary. And that's the child that gets built. So here we go again. Word of Admiralty. And the Admiralty is senior to the court because what are the courts based in? Admiralty. So you have to go to the high seat to get this. Word of Admiralty, a seaman, so called because of the legal view that a seaman in contractual matters should be treated as a beneficiary and the other contracting party as a fiduciary because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining position. That's why mom has always carried the weight in courts as far as custody of the children. She built the damn thing, so she gets more right to it. There is an inequitability in that contract. And why... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, so what you've just read out is relating to Admiralty, and we're talking actual law of the ocean there, and yet you switch those terms around in terms of the biology of it, and you're talking the same thing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and what people have to see, and they have to see this, and this is where I was chasing it down based on natural law, because I saw the whole Admiralty setup, Phoenician law, whatever you want to call it, as an absolute mirror to natural law. So as above, so below. That's cosmic law, right? When you can see both of them at the same time, then it all makes sense. So just to clarify this even further, this applies to the name and why it was important for mom to take on dad's name. And it goes into more detail in this document, Scott. You'll see that as you're going through. But you'll get an idea of the power you're wielding now. So whereas the surname is assumed automatic at birth, as much as my mother adopted my father's surname upon marriage, my living blood was kidnapped by cesarean, and I was taken from my natural jurisdiction to be willfully enslaved into another legal, corporate, dead jurisdiction against my free will choice via deceptios, via wrongful assumption. And it's all about assumption. Remember that.
Yep.
Pretty cool, huh? How am I doing so far?
It's excellent. It's beautiful. That's what you were just saying just now. It reminds me of someone in the chat room in the Angels room the other night saying, how am I going to, they were going to have a baby, and his wife was going to have a baby, and wanted to know, what to do about the birth certificate and all that jazz. And he said something about, how am I going to prove he's my child or I'm his father? And you responded, Kate, well, your blood does that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, someone they were going off track in strawmanned, no-mind legal fiction realm, and what I was trying to say, at what point do you need a piece of paper to prove the mitochondrial DNA and the father's DNA in the child? Good luck with a piece of paper proving that. You know what? I'll just jab my finger and give you a little blood sample, and you tell me which piece of paper I'm related to.
Exactly.
Yeah, the red one in the gift card selection.
Oh, apparently, I think it's the one that looks like a candy cane with stripes on it, like a barber's pole. And what do they think? Would they think we're all carrying chloroform and putting ourselves to sleep here? I don't think so.
So we've got this kidnapping that's taken place from the natural jurisdiction to this legal corporate jurisdiction.
Yes.
Obviously against your free will, because you didn't have a say in it when you were popping out birth canal.
Well, do you want to play on with this, Scott? Because you're a perfect individual to bounce this off, because I know you get it.
Yeah, keep going. I'm just working through with some questions that hopefully are helping me to clarify what's going on, and hopefully it's benefit to the listeners as well.
Well, that's exactly why, for some reason, I had to host tonight. It's weird, eh? Funny how that pre-sent itself to me, right? Anyway, here we go. Well, you know what we should do then is let's just go from the top here so that people can, I've read this out a few times, but so people have an idea of what it is I'm talking about, and that if there's any questions on the way through, Scott, we can cover them, and Cindy, and we'll do some clarification, have some fun. You guys game?
I got my pen ready.
Okay, well, let's play. Okay. Invocation of clausula rebus sextantibus, writ of covenant, writ of deceit, writ of inquiry. Whereas a fundamental change of circumstances is now pre-sent in pure speech in the role of a liberal constructionist, Beetlejuice, it is my desirous, willful wish to settle this matter, fiat justitia, ruat caelum, denic ultimum revirio varo. A fraud revealed is null and void, nunc pro tunc, ab initio, ad infinitum. Whereas my star contract, long-form birth certificate, is in custody with the Registrar General and given under seal of the General Register Office, Belfast, Northern Ireland, as claimed on the certified copy, my original copy has not been deposited in a lawful repository, namely the King's Exchequer at Westminster as commanded by Richard I. It is my rightful duty to inform all parties, pirates, or rearrange the letters, you'll see pirates, who have laid fraudulent claim to my stock as per Black's 9th edition West. Stock, noun, 14th century. 1. The original progenitor of a family, a person from whom a family is descended. Where, inasmuch subrogation is present. I am the stock of my mother, father, self-evident in the blood ether, in my lineage veins, mitochondrial DNA, delta 10 Lucifer, from my mother, which is prima facie evidence of my bloodline, RHA positive, where my father is the beneficiary of ascendants born to him. The father, semen, of any all born to him render him the beneficiary only, whereas the mother is fiduciary. Note, word of advocacy. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
One question?
Just there. So to sum that up, that's setting out the natural scenario of what is.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
So we've got, for example, and I take it this is specific to your certificate for Northern Ireland and Belfast. For others, it would be wherever that registrar is.
Yep.
And then also, now the next question is the King's Exchequer at Westminster. Is that going to be the same for everyone?
Pretty much, because it's further explained in the document as we go through here. Okay. And again, trust me on this. Any terms that people are unsure of, I already have them printed on the bottom. And what I actually do is I write templates. Yeah, it's specific to me on this one, but it's really a matter of, okay, well, take out what it belongs to me and put in what belongs to you.
Yep.
Regardless of where you are in the world.
Okay. Carry on.
Okay, here we go. Again, award of admiralty, a seaman, so-called because of the legal view that a seaman, in contractual matters, should be treated as a beneficiary and the other contracting party as a fiduciary because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. Cases, seamen, unbelievable. Something else, too, that I wanted to mention here with regards to the bonds, and we've covered this many times. What we're dealing with in all constructive trusts, which is what they all are, based on natural law, we have the bid, which is, dad saying to mom, let's party. And then there's, of course, the performance, which is labor. And mom definitely has contractions, where she goes into labor to deliver the payment bond, i.e. the trust that was constructed. Okay? So that's just to bring back more of that natural to commercial law. Now, whereas the surname is assumed automatic at birth, inasmuch as my mother adopted my father's surname upon marriage, my living blood was kidnapped by Caesarean, and I was taken from my natural jurisdiction to be willfully enslaved into another legal court dead jurisdiction against my free will choice, via deceptios, via wrongful assumption. Whereas the mistaken assumption has been made that I am assumed in some way to be related to the crown, I attest this to be untrue, where my blood in my veins is mine, self-evident as living ether, without which I would cease to be, given to me from my father. My father is the beneficiary of me, where I am not the beneficiary to him, nor do I claim any of his inheritance, where I am his inheritance to which he is my heir, not the other way round. Based on this deceptios, my father's inheritance as beneficiary was stolen by those unlawfully claiming my father's creation. Furthermore, I lay no claim to my father's estate, where I may be mistakenly assumed to be beneficiary. Any all titles, names, surnames, debts, liability, et al., etc., where I hereby invoke beneficium abstinendi ab initio ad infinitum non pro tunc. Note, beneficium, a privilege, remedy or benefit granted by law, such as the beneficium abstinendi, privilege of abstaining, by which an heir could refuse to accept an inheritance, and thereby avoid the accompanying debt. Beneficium abstinendi, privilege of abstaining, the right of an heir to refuse an inheritance and thus avoid liability for the testator's debts. Insert testicles debts there. You might understand what it's saying. Furthermore, Furthermore, my father's estate, beneficiary status, as well as my mother's fiduciary status, is willfully stolen via deceptios by any all parties, pirates, using my credit name and birth, venta, star date, given to me by way of removing, kidnapping, shanghaiing me from my natural jurisdiction, where the creation of the short form birth certificate is prima facie evidence of this private to public fraud absolute, where my long form birth certificate remains unlawful until it is placed in a lawful repository. Any all use of this name in the public is fraud ab initio ad infinitum non pro tunc until lawfully deposited. The DTC at 55 Water Street is not a lawful repository, but is rather a customs bonding warehouse. Wade hearing, criminal law, a pretrial hearing in which the defendant contests the validity of his or her out-of-court identification. If the court finds that the identification was tainted by unconstitutional methods, the prosecution cannot use the identification and must link the defendant to the crime by other means. United States versus Wade, 388 U.S. 218, 87. Circuit Court, 1926. Oh, go ahead.
Quick one. So to sum that previous paragraph, we've got the short form birth certificate is the we get.
Yes.
And the long form is the one that ideally should be deposited in this lawful repository.
Yes.
And until that's done so, the use of the name on that document, which I believe is the same as on the short form document,
Yep.
is fraud ab initio.
Yeah, absolutely. And non-pro-tunc, now for then. So everything reverts back. So anything done through that name by the system must revert back to you, i.e. any money made with it, any profits that, and I go into that at the very end, which makes it very clear that you got some splaining to do, Lucy, and you got some checks to be writing here. Okay?
Yeah.
Just letting you know, this is how the system comes down. You're taking it down, boys and girls. I promise. My mission.
Isn't that an empowering paragraph? I just love it. And
well, you got get used to it. I
yeah.
just want to start laughing like it.
Do continue.
No,
I'm reading along right with you. The copy you sent me earlier. So this is.
There might be some changes to it because I've been tinkering with it prior to the show. You know what I'm like. Like I said, it's my working copy, so you guys might not have everything I have here, but you will. I promise.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Keep getting better and better and better. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go back to we did the Wade hearing. So STAR. These are all references taken right out of Black's Law 9. So if any lawyer or court uses Black's Law 9, which of course they do because they have to, it is applicable worldwide. So STAR, which is a noun from Latin starum, from Hebrew shatar, a writing or a covenant. Historically, a Jewish contract, especially for release of an obligation, that Richard I declared to be invalid unless it was placed in a lawful repository, the largest being in the King's Exchequer at Westminster, also termed Stara. It is well known, key words, it is well known that before the banishment of Jews under Edward I, their contracts and obligations were denominated in our ancient records, stara or stars, from a corruption of the Hebrew word sheheh or shtar, covenant. These stars, by ordinance of Richard I, were commanded to be enrolled and deposited in chests under trees in certain places, one, and the most considerable of which was in the King's Exchequer at Westminster. The room at the Exchequer where the chests containing these stars were kept was probably called the Star Chamber, and when the Jews were expelled from the kingdom, was applied to the use of the King's Council when sitting in their judicial capacity. That's from William Blackstone, Commentaries on the Laws of England, from 1769. In summary, any questions on that, or are we pretty clear?
No, all good.
Okay.
Yes.
Moving on. In summary, the ruse perpetuated on myself and mankind is exposed for the mistake it is, pure fraud, ab initio, ad infinitum, non-pro-tunc, where it is now incumbent upon those responsible, able for this fraud to emendatio all mistakes created via this fraud. All evidence has been collected where it is now pre-sent for you, such as my living blood ether, which is prima facie proof of stock, as well as the long form, as yet unlawful, connected to short form, proof of public fraud, in my physical presence. By commission or omission of any all crimes, one is guilty where the crime is brought into view. So emendatio rather, Latin, historically, the power of amending and correcting abuses according to certain rules and measures, and boy did we find these out. So in conclusion, much knowing has been revealed to me in my own Genesis to Revelation. It is my desirous willful wish for you to investigate the following. My original source contract is not deposited in a lawful repository. I have attached a photocopy scanned containing my receipt, BC short form, so you may further investigate and inspect the following. The Terra Cross, CRSS, dotted line covenant, the original source contract covenant, which is 19 with 12 dots. My original source contract shows the birth date, star date was never corporate jurisdiction, dotted line passed through to private, and was never meant or intended to be made public, short form fraud, where this private matter is concerned. Therefore, the United Kingdom of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and later Canada and Ontario, immigrant, not migrant, falsely lay claims to being related or joined to the estate, disposing the need for testatory capacity, creating a situation where they are benefiting from unjust enrichment via theft. The United Kingdom of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and later Canada, Ontario, with unclean hands using false documents, moved me, kidnapped me as a child into a different jurisdiction, forcing me to pay their taxes, tariffs plus levies, creating much hardship for myself while benefiting from unjust enrichment, aka literal slavery. The United Kingdom of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and later Canada, Ontario, denied my easement on the land. The United Kingdom of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and later Canada, Ontario, you removed my guest status, not allowing me to seek damages. The United Kingdom of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and later Canada, Ontario, falsely labeled the estate, creating a trademark, shanghaiing me into using it for identification, defrauding me in the laws and customs, forcing me to conduct trade while benefiting from unjust enrichment. I am submitting to your department a photocopy of the birth certificate, both forms, to be used only for your inspection in this matter. Should you require the original copy, please contact me. My cell phone number is there. Clausula Rebus Sextantibus, cross, DRSS, the cross to bear. A treaty provision stating that the treaty is binding only as long as the circumstances in existence when the treaty was signed remain substantially the same. Therefore, every contract created with their trademark is fraudulent, ab initio, ad infinitum, nunc pro tunc. I accept the full character of creator, creditor domini, entirely, toto generi. My willful intent is peaceful. It is my wish for my guest status to be returned. It is my wish to receive your assistance in getting full restitution. Emendatio. Thank you. All references of law are from Black's Law 9th edition, where many and further proofs are an addendum to this invocational writ. And as you can see, if you scroll down, and I'm not done with these yet, I got a whole bunch more. There's some other cartoons I need to watch.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's all there, Scott. You wouldn't believe it. Once you start seeing your Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb trail of everything that you pre-sent yourself, it's a hoot. It's just a movie. We're all starring in a movie. Some of us are extras. Some of us are spectators. And the spectators are the ones that are generally using the Walmart on Black Friday kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Where I should mention, by the way, that Black Friday at Walmart is the day that the prices are the most expensive throughout the year.
Oh, of course.
So what do you think of them apples, Scotty?
Wow. Yeah, well, that'll give them a little bit of investigative work to do.
Well, if they want to use my name, then they're going to have to be admitting right out of the gate that they're committing fraud, and I know they are because the document it's right on it. Here, right on my birth certificate. Let me see. I'll open it up again. Okay,
identification.
This right off the certificate. Okay. Births and Deaths Registration, Northern Ireland, Order 1976, Article 34. Certified copy of an entry of birth. Certified to be a true copy of an entry in a register in the custody, means they have it, of the Registrar General and given under the seal of the General Register Office, Belfast. Doesn't sound like a lawful repository like, the King's Exchequer at Westminster to me.
No, well, I can read off mine as well. I've got I, John Brett Holliday, hereby certify that the above is hereby certify that the above is a true copy of particulars recorded in a register kept by me. So again, it's a copy. Yeah, so here over on the other side of the world, I've got the same story going on.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I want to go get mine.
Yeah, I figured you might, Cindy.
I'll be right back.
You see the power of what I'm talking about now, right? If it ain't a lawful document, then it ain't legal either, and everyone that's using it is using it illegally and unlawfully, and there's a whole lot of unjust enrichment going around for all those people that say, well, I have a shiny badge.
Yeah. Oh, the shiny badge pops up again. I've just got another one here from New Zealand, Kiwi birth certificate, certified to be a true copy of the above particulars included in an entry recorded in this office. So there again, it's saying it's kept with the registrar.
Again, there you go. And I just got a little note here, so I'll be doing an update. Thank you, Francine. I was going to go back and double check all this stuff, but thanks for making my life easy. Delta 9 Lucifer, Delta 10 MDNA. All right, so that's because we're actually related to cannabis, the tree of life. That's where the word cannibal comes from, eating flesh, right? So cannabis, cannibal. It all works together. So thank you, Francine. I greatly appreciate it. Nice to know you're tuned in and we're all having fun. Now you understand why I was so adamant about any legal documents being sent out, because I knew they weren't lawful or legal in any way whatsoever if they were using the name. So hopefully this information will get into the hands of people that need it to make a proper and lawful claim once they get their birth certificate deposited in a lawful repository. Because until then, they're committing. I'm not talking individual. See, this is stuff that they knew or ought to have known, being as they're all about the law and legal. But what they've done is they've kept this information from us and allowed us to go willy-nilly committing fraud. And until we caught on to it, all was fair in love and war. But it's sorry, guys, the ruse is up. You've been caught committing fraud. We know how now. We know where the fraud started. We know that all insurances go through Venice. That's where X or key, Greek letter key, St. Mark's the spot. That's where the blue sky sureties all come from. And that's why in Gravity Falls they say onwards Aoshima in one of their coded words at the end of the cartoon. Aoshima is Japanese for Blue Island. Just a coincidence that Santo's lovely wife is Japanese and told me what that meant when she said that. If people even had an idea of the dots that got connected to get it to this point, you would see how this game works. We are in Oz, all of us.
What was that last comment you made, Kate, about Santa's wife being Japanese, and what did she explain to you?
Okay, well, one of the episodes of Gravity Falls has it the little code things that the kids have been breaking down.
Yes. Okay,
well, at the end of it, the decoded message was onwards Aoshima. Aoshima is Japanese for Blue Island.
Blue Island, okay. Like blue sky.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Mhm.
And what's the only city in the world that's sitting on water like a boat? Venice, Italy.
Ah.
Yeah, all roads used to lead to Rome until it was sacked by the Phoenicians, and they moved it over to Venice. Now, there's that Department of Justice, Doji. Yeah, it all works. We have created a master script, a beautiful set called Earth, a beautiful universe, which is part of the set as well. And we're just here experiencing our starring roles. And now that we're in the age of Aquarius, I guess we get to know instead of believe. Kind of cool, huh?
It's very cool.
What does your birth certificate say?
Well, I'm assuming it would be where the state registrar date issued. Is this what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
The above signature certifies that this is true and correct copy of the official record of this file. This document is printed or photocopied on security paper with watermarks. The Great Seal of the State of Florida do not accept without verifying the presence of the watermark. It's just talking about the paper that it's printed on. So where else would I look? State of Florida Department of Health and Rehabilitative Services Division of Health.
Only one lawful repository in the U.S. and it's called the U.S. Treasury. Is there any mention of Treasury on that document?
No, there is not.
Well, then it's fraud.
Kate, a quick one on that one. Given that a lawful repository, one of them was the U.S. Treasury, if these long-form certificates were not deposited with, say, the Treasury, would that be in some way defrauding the Treasury as well?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. And by the way, because Australia, as you pointed out so eloquently, the Australian government is registered where?
Washington, D.C.?
D.C.
So those that have, corporations like Canadians, for example, because Canada is owned by the United States Corporation, which in turn is owned by the Crown anyway. But the bottom line is this. You may consider, now I'm not giving anybody any advice, but I might point in this direction a little. Maybe the U.S. Treasury might be a place to look.
Yeah.
Just put it together, guys. I can't tell you the answers. You got to figure it out yourself.
You have to do your own homework here.
You've got me thinking on that one, because if these little franchise operations of these registrars around the world are withholding the deposit in the lawful repository, that appears to be, like we said, the potential of defrauding the lawful repositories.
Yeah. I can smell your wheels burning from here.
They're operating a little sideshow, operating outside. We're withholding sort of our stock take, if you like, from the boss. We're taken from the till almost.
Yeah, they might have their fingers in the kitty before everything gets started. And just so people know, they start off pretty disgustingly with, racial profiling in order to grade the bond. And if you'd like, I can read out some of the questions just to show you how they grade these bonds and racially profile people to see what it's worth. I do have a document that I can open and share some of the information as to what the child's bond is worth when they're born. Where, let's say, someone, white, black, or whatever, born in, say, in the ghetto, say mom or dad was, or mom was into crack a little bit, and stuff like that, that does affect the value of the bond, right? Because, the stock issue, right, the baby, might not be as valuable because it came out as damaged stock, damaged inventory. As someone, let's say, that was white, black, or whatever, that grew up and got a Yale education, for example, because their parents are, wealthy, judges, or whatever, that bond will certainly be worth, in their eyes, because of their racial profiling and their discrimination and their disdain for anything but purebloods. They look at us like we're muggles, half-blood, where it'd be worth a whole lot more. Let's say, so a ghetto kid the bond might start out at $50,000, $100,000, and what have you, whereas someone born into a Yale family, the bond could start out at 10 or 20 or 30 million and go from there. And of course, once you have access to the funds, which they do have the information for, it's not very hard to control the planet when you're that racist and when you're that prejudicial and when you're that filled with disdain for your fellow man. But here's the problem now, guys. I'm a bitch. I'm relentless. I have a big, big shovel, and I've dug up every rabbit hole I could find, and guess what I found? I found your rabbit turds, and now I'm going to shove them back up your ass in a very loving way. Have a nice day.
Well, I suppose putting the shovel down for a minute, that'd explain why we've got occupation of our mother or father on the birth certificate.
Isn't that something? See, I knew this was going to be a fun couple hours.
Yes.
Look at the power that you have, Scott, in what you already know, and with a couple of little things tossed in. Do you feel a bit more empowered now that you came onto the show?
Yeah. I think there's a few folk who are about to bear the brunt of a barrage of writs.
I'm going to say the SS Scotty's just going out to sea and is given a broadside, all four decks, both sides at the same time. I see a lot of Admiralty ships going underwater.
I suspect so.
One's car that I'm going to get a ride in when I come down there, coming out of customs real quick.
I think so. Well, we're also investigating some rather interesting information on other angles, which I can't go into right now, but we're coming at it on another angle that's mind-blowing regarding ownership of these corporations.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I'll keep you posted on that as that unfolds. But we're aiming for potentially the next week or so having something monumental to go out to the world.
Excellent. Wow. Stay tuned.
But yeah, birth certificates is those lawful repositories seems to be the key, is identifying some of those. And we're also going back to, what was it, the declaration by King, what's his name? Where's our king? Which was the one that said that needed to be deposited? I'm just going through that document again. It's not jumping out at me right now. Are you...
What document? The document that Kate was just reading off of, or?
Yeah, there we go. Talking about King's Exchequer, deposited in that... yeah. These stars, by an ordinance of Richard I, were commanded, enrolled and deposited in chests under 3 keys in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
So we wonder where these depositories were. We've got a suggestion that one's Treasury. We've got the Westminster in the UK. One would suspect that Treasuries may be branch offices of such a repository.
Mm-hmm.
But the key would be to, I suppose, put the emphasis onto the registrar, who is, as per the birth certificate, saying he's got the particulars or the copy kept with him, is to say, well, excuse me, sir, I am, as per this writ, looking for evidence that it's deposited in a lawful repository. And you can imagine the registrar would be sweating bricks.
Yes, you're probably quite speechless to answer that one.
Well, I'm liking essentially the addendum or references that Kate's put together in this.
Yes, we've been. Well, she has. I've had a chance to look at a few of some of the aha moments. Having the Black's Law Dictionary 9th edition is absolutely priceless when you're on these rabbit hunts. Anything that stands out, sometimes you have to play with the words, but you just pull up that reference and look up whatever you can find, and you will be very enlightened as to the actual meaning of certain terms you come across. And this is blooming into just the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. So you now that you have a few more pieces of the puzzle, we're very, very excited to hear what you can come up with, along with your findings that you can't speak about right now. But
yeah, I think one of the things that it was regarding why I asked if the Treasury would be defrauded if those certificates were not deposited with them. So if you're defrauding the owner of the Treasury by not depositing those, it's suggesting we've got these little satellite operations that are running their own little show and dipping into the till. And that I think would have quite a lot of them ducking for cover left, right and centre very quickly if they were had the light shone on them.
Yes, if they were exposed. I don't think the boss would like that very much.
No. Well, I have that on fairly good authority. He doesn't. So this is a good little piece to the jigsaw puzzle. and may well fill in, join a few more dots that could assist in that matter. So, I'll keep you posted on that side of things.
Brilliant.
This aspect of the, because I'd viewed it for quite some time on a more simplistic level of when your mother and father give birth to you, they act as like an executor and appoint trustees to return benefits to you as the child.
Yes.
So it was like a trust in that sort of manner.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're looking at here is we're going back to the semen and the egg to put together the constructive trust where we get the mother as the fiduciary, father as the semen,
mm-hmm.
with the semen, making him the beneficiary, which is a kind of a strange way to look at it when you think of the father as being the beneficiary. But I suppose in another way, when you go along to those birthday parties for the children and you see the father there sitting there with the child on his lap and throwing him up in the air or whatever,
yes.
then benefiting or beneficiary in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose another example is you look at, go back to the families of old, and my father, I can relate to this. He grew up in New Zealand on a farm property where he was a family of 5 brothers. Now, in that regard, they were all essentially workers going out milking the cows, and the father benefited from having a little bit of a workforce.
I know all too well about that. I grew up on an Arabian horse farm, and I was definitely, I'm guessing, a nice worker. It worked out well for my mother.
Different way of looking at that beneficiary scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just go through that joining of the dots again to where you fit in. You fit in as, in the natural law scenario, you are carrying the blood of the father. So,
carrying the blood of what? I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Sorry, you've got the blood of the mother and father.
Uh-huh.
So in the natural environment, we've got the link between the two there. And I'm just thinking out loud a bit here as
sure.
I'm working through this. What else have we got? So that the father is the beneficiary of me, not the other way round. Now, this is the bit I was having a little bit of trouble with, the inheritance. My father's inheritance as beneficiary was stolen. Right, so that occurs where you get kidnapped and his benefits are stolen. That makes sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Then what else we got? We've got, so yeah, that takes the father's status as a state beneficiary as stolen. Then what do we got? Using the private name, date, short form birth certificate, so private to public fraud. Yeah, head's certainly spinning on this one. It will be an interesting one to let that sink in and rattle itself around.
Mhm. Yeah, it's spinning in my head too. So I'm with you on that. I've only been looking into these findings that excuse me, Kate and Peter and several others, Tony included. They've been working very hard just diving into so many different areas and using the Black's Law and coming up with so much information that does make sense once you really sit down and chew on that bone for a little bit. I myself, just me. I'm lucky to have a family to put a roof over my head at the moment, but no job, no money, and right now is just the most prime time for me to learn this stuff, because once I know what I'm doing, I believe I will be able to go forward and change my life forever. And all of this information is like gold to me, and should be to everyone else that's out there listening. If you listen and learn from this and do your own homework, and you can free yourself and take back your power.
Yeah. The sad part about it is the amount of work that people have had to do to dig in and find all of this stuff. And then you get the apologists who come and say, "Oh, let he who be deceived." And I think, hang on a minute.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, to me, that just is a license to go and do whatever you like.
Exactly.
I mean, could you imagine I'd just go and nick lemons from my neighbour's tree, and I'd just say, "Oh, let he be deceived who be deceived."
That's right.
All I've done is I've stolen those lemons from him.
Exactly.
And I'm justifying that theft by saying, "Let he be deceived who be deceived." And I don't sit well with that at all.
Oh, neither me.
So there is certainly, in my mind, a willful intent to have set up this system to con us out of our rightful status and prosperity that comes along with it. So that's the sad part, but we can put that behind us and move forward to claim the work towards the solution.
Yes.
And what was it? Someone was saying the other day that he's saying, "Oh, they've it's the remedy is there, so that they're not doing anything wrong if they've provided a remedy." I'm like, well,
okay.
If you need a remedy, to me, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if we didn't have a problem, we wouldn't need a remedy. So I start first with backing the truck up. And what we're looking at here is one hell of a problem with a remedy. So ultimately, if this whole problem didn't exist, we wouldn't have to be worrying about all of this sort of thing. So very grateful that we've got this in front of us now to undo all of this mess. But it's a rabbit hole and a half, like Kate was saying.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
By the sound of it.
Well, you're right. We have all the clues right in front of us. It's just a matter of deciphering the code and figuring out that remedy. And each different individual who is a part of the decoding process can bring a different puzzle piece to the table. Eventually, we're going to have this puzzle put together, and it's going to be to the benefit of everyone, all mankind.
Definitely, yeah. So, what do we got? Kate mentioned that clausa rebus sixtantibus.
Oh, okay, Kate. I just saw the message. Kate got bumped off the show. She's trying to get back on. I was wondering. I was like, wow. She's
no drama.
back.
We keep on going there.
Okay.
So with this clausa rebus sixtantibus. So what have we got? A treaty provision stating that the treaty is binding as long as the circumstances in existence when the treaty was signed remains substantially the same.
Mm.
Therefore, every contract created with their trademark is fraudulent ab initio ad infinitum nunc pro tunc. So, to go over that, the contract created with their trademark refers to the name. Excuse me.
Okay. Quite all right.
Does that sound right? That the trademark is the name?
Yes.
So if we go back, working our way back, so we've got the United Kingdom of England, blah, 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 labelled the estate, creating a trademark, shanghaiing me into using it for identification, which is true because you go along to set up a bank account, and here in Australia they want their so-called 100 points of identification, of which a birth certificate contributes to a certain amount of points as identification. You go look for a driver's license, and they'll accept a birth certificate as identification, and yet they're plastering
the whole net went down here. Okay,
yeah, they plaster it.
We must be onto something.
Yeah, well, we've been working our way through some of the points there, Kate. Our heads are spinning, and it's all going well.
Oh, I had no doubt. That's why I preempted the show, letting Cindy know that we're grooming her for her own spot. So look at that. You got to host your first show.
I'm getting a crash course for sure.
Damn. Anyway, well, fill me in what you guys. I've missed the last, 20 minutes here because trying to wait for that to come back to life. But continue on. No problem. If there's any questions, whatever. I just want to actually see you guys do it. See, you tore it apart all by yourself. I love it.
Yes, Scott, please continue. I'm
right
along with you.
Working backwards from this, the bottom end, if you like, of this document, we were going through that clausa rebus sextantibus and working through treaty provision stating that the treaty is binding only as long as the circumstances in existence when the treaty was signed remain substantially the same. Therefore, every contract created with their trademark is fraudulent. The trademark being the name or the label of the estate, which is coming from the birth certificate, which, if not properly filed or recorded with the lawful repository, becomes, let me see if I can join the dots on the terminology there. If that document's not filed with the lawful repository, it is, where are we, fraud to emendatio. Is that sounding right there, Kate?
Yeah, you're right on the right track here. I'm just looking to pull up another document here that as part of my ongoing research. So things that I don't really. I just got to bring this up. Where is it? Santa Claus Trail. There it is. Yeah, I've got. You wouldn't believe the work that's went into this document. I've been solid at this for almost 2 weeks, and I'm pretty savvy when it comes to this stuff too, which is.
Yes, she is. And for the past 2 weeks, I've been helping a team of people who are working on we just opened the doors on the 21st at 11 a.m. GMT. Syncreticity.com was opened up, and it is going to be, or is, a syncretic university and a database of everything Santo, Kate, and Tony, and we will eventually be adding more teachers there. At the moment, you can go in and look around. There's quite a bit of information that we have been able to upload, but between the three, there is just infinite amount of information, shows, radio shows, writings, and videos that we're trying to get on this site as fast as possible. And I'll get these messages from Kate. and it's like this long discovery, and I'm like, I want to read it so bad, but I got to sleep too. So eventually I will be able to just take an entire day or two or three and sit and dive into all of this and really understand it. So just exciting times that we live in.
Okay, well, here it is in a nutshell. This will help explain what you just asked, Scott. So here's the thing. If you did deposit the long form BC, it wouldn't matter because the goods hadn't been delivered. And if you deliver the goods via the short form BC, you couldn't claim it because the STAR contract hadn't been made valid by depositing it into a lawful repository. So either way, and here's where you come into the picture, you'll see the synchronicity here now, customs has been avoided. And there's doo-doo coming down the track, right? This is all about, my document froze again. I hate when it does this. I was just going to read out what clausula rebus sextantibus. I actually, there's a little typo there in the document I gave you, but I'll be fine-toothing that before I send it tomorrow. I'm going to have to close this document again and reopen it. But anyway, I'll read what clausula rebus sextantibus is, and you'll see the importance and the relevance. Because what we're dealing with here is a fundamental change of circumstances. All of a sudden, we have woken up to say, wait a minute, the Crown aren't my parents. They stole my parents' inheritance, called me the fruit of their labor. We are the fruit of our parents' labor. Right? Yeah. So, what they've done, and that's why they wanted to secure the children. It wasn't about securing the parent, because they weren't interested in the parent. All the parents were used for was creating the next level of fruit. And they kept this thing going. Ad infinitum, that's what they were hoping for, but, and there's myself and a handful of others that have showed up that have all played key roles in this. I mean, listen, anything I put together is the net result of my interaction with everyone else out there, so this is not my document. This is everyone's document. All I'm doing is doing my job in what I'm good at, and that's writing. That's what I do. And I write and read between the lines. I understand the green language. So I'm taking everybody else's work that is shared, of course, and I share it right back. When I complete something, of course, it goes right back to everybody. I guarantee you everything I've ever done is out there somewhere because it belongs to all. Truth is not, this is where ego comes into play with people. Some people, this is where they get caught in their intellect. Some people go, well, I know this, and I'm really smart, and I'm not gonna tell everyone, and I'm just going to control it. And that's what's happened to us. So I'm just going to try to get this thing open up again, because it really is, once you get the fundamental understanding of what the clausula rebus sextantibus, or the cross, it's just a coincidence that the initials are CRSS, and the only thing missing in it is the O of creation. They took the creation out of the cross. So what's happened here, the fundamental change is that no, the Crown aren't my parents. And that is, again, if you look at prima noctis, which is a supposed custom, right? And customs are senior to laws. If you want proof of that? Well, it's customary for cannibals to eat people. It's not against the law in their culture. It is a custom, right? That's why everything had to get caught up in customs. The only thing that can trump a law. Get it now? All right.
Yes.
So here we go. Clausula rebus sextantibus. In public international law, clausula rebus sextantibus, which is Latin for things thus standing, is the legal doctrine allowing for treaties to become inapplicable because of a fundamental change of circumstances. It is essentially an escape clause that makes an exception to the general rule of pacta sunt servanda, which is promises must be kept. Mm-hmm. Now, because the doctrine poses such a risk to the security of treaties, as its scope is relatively unconfined, it requires strict regulations as to the conditions in which it may be invoked. I think I might have found some of those invocable conditions. Now, here's something that is key to this. That's why everyone has to get this on their own. It's not like I'm not making it easy, okay? All right. Now, if the parties to a treaty had contemplated for the occurrence of the changed circumstance, the doctrine does not apply, and the provision remains in effect. They weren't contemplating us figuring this out. So guess what? The circumstances have changed, so the doctrine does apply, and the provision will come into effect. Clausula rebus sextantibus only relates to changed circumstances that were never contemplated by the parties, i.e. they didn't think we'd wake up. Now, although it is clear that a fundamental change of circumstances might justify terminating or modifying a treaty, unilateral denunciation of a treaty is prohibited. A party does not have the right to denounce a treaty unilaterally. That is, if one does it, and then another does it, and then another, and then another, it'll get to the point where that critical mass hits, where it's not just a unilateral denunciation, it is a complete denunciation by the masses of this treaty that has us all trapped in these birth bonds. You see, the biggest trap had to be the biggest freedom. That's how this universe works, as above or below, good and evil, right and left, up and down.
Yep. Day and night.
Day and night, absolutely. This is not about this or that. It is this and that. So once you see that, you really get an idea. Now, here's something else, too, and I'd like to bring this into the picture so people get a really good understanding of it. It goes back to the Railway Act of 1873, in which all companies are subject to a post office. Universal Postal Union, not global. Wonder what they're talking about. Oh, right, universal law. Okay. So if they're controlling the universal law via the UPU, that makes us 7 billion little postal workers walking around with a piece of cargo called the short form fraud certificate, which is only the receipt and the proof of the fraud that has been literally tacked to our ass, and we are mailmen and women walking around the planet delivering this piece of cargo that will never get anywhere until it's put in the lawful repository. So now, little postal workers, you know where to take the mail. All right, now let's go. Here's something else. This is critical. In 1892, British case, Penthorne versus Fraser. This is how powerful the mail is, all right? And I mean that in the mailbox sense of things. Isn't that funny how they use these words? Anyway, now where the circumstances are such that it must have been within the contemplation of the parties that according to the ordinary usages of mankind, the post might be used as a means of communicating the acceptance of an offer. The acceptance is complete as soon as it is posted.
Oh.
So there we go.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. All right. Are we having fun now, Scott?
Yeah, it's a whole heap of dots joining up there.
just one or two, right? But about 12. Have you got your certificate in front of you?
Yes.
Can you look at the date? Is yours a handwritten one or is it typed out?
Typed down.
Okay. Where your birth date is, are there any dotted lines there?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, this is where I had to play this role because mine has it's handwritten, and that's because I'm an old bitch, 1964. But it's handwritten, and it says 19 with 12 dots, and written above it is 64, and handwritten 15th. Okay, and of course the address where I was born. Look at that, 6511 Brome Street. Okay, and by the way, a Brome is a buggy, a two-wheel buggy that the elites like to ride around in. You know, like the little taxis or the sedans. Think Victorian England and the two-wheel jaunting car with really nice. That's what's called a Brome. Isn't it interesting? So I was meant to be a noble all along. Anyway, here we go. Now, the long form has a date of birth written over either a dotted line or nothing, which means it's a private date of birth. It's not a solid line, which means for public use. And the thing that you'll see different from the long form is, are your parents listed on that document that you have?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that is the long form, because what they're doing is they're showing the actual blood lineage, your progeny line. Okay? If you look at the short form, there's no mention of your parents. So what's happened is this has now assumed to be your parent, and what shitty parents they are, huh? They don't like looking after their kids. They just like beating them down to the ground and stealing all their money as the beneficiary that has been stolen from your mom and dad because you are the fruit of their loom. Okay? Do you see how the mirror works here?
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty little circumstance.
Yeah, it's now exposed, right?
So the difference between the short form and the long form is the long form has the parents mentioned.
Yes, and that is the long and short of it.
Okay. I'm looking at a Kiwi birth certificate and an Aussie one here, and both are in the long form. I haven't actually come across a short form one, but I suppose that doesn't really matter.
Well, but you need, if you're going to make this claim, it's a perfected claim. You need to have the short form. Typically, what you might have is a tear out from the bond, which is in the card form. I'm not sure what they have down here, but I know in Canada and the U.S. they have that. Do they not? Oh, I know they have it in Canada. Do they have that down where you are, Cindy?
What is this again?
It's like almost like credit card sized short form.
Credit card size short form. No. Only thing I have like a credit when I got my passport, and a passport came like a credit card. But I heard you mention this short form before, and where would someone, let's say in the United States or Australia or anywhere else, how do you acquire this?
Well, you see, here's the thing. You might just want to call the Secretary of State and maybe ask them about, the long form birth certificate. It's not a legal document. You're wondering if you can get a hold of the short form. Better yet, just go online, and there are companies that will secure those for you. You see, that's a third party you can go through that removes the burden of doing that. It might cost you a couple extra dollars or euros or pounds or whatever to do that. I got to tell you, I've got almost $200 in 2 pieces of paper that are the end game of exposing the fraud for what it is, right? So just to give you a little background, read all the necessary requirements to forego customs, and claimed where they claimed that they were related to us, and we were at that point literally incapacitated. All right, so we were taken out of the loop. Now the proof is found on the small birth certificate. The now public birth date is really the public vintage your wine date. Okay, this is turning the wine.
You're born on date. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, your born identity, and that's what we are. we are all Jason Bourne. And what was the first movie about? He had to follow his clues to find out who he really was.
Who he really was. That is, and then the Bourne ultimatum, and then the Bourne supremacy. So just wow.
Okay, so and when you start to see the coincidences and the synchronicities for them not being synchronicities and coincidences, they are your breadcrumbs. Follow them. And what Jason had to do throughout the movies was he had to come to terms with who he was. And when he finally discovered who he was following his trail, he wasn't very happy with it. But what he did was he found his heart. That was the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Straw Man all in one.
Yes.
And where did they find Jason at the beginning of the movie?
At the beginning of the movie, in the water, floating, lost at sea.
Yeah. And he had a little chip thing in his back that was cut out of him, and that had his first clue to take him to Switzerland. Imagine that. Thanks to his bank account, where he had lots of ID, so he didn't know who the hell he was because he had ID from everywhere.
Yes. Wow.
But no, they didn't tell us in the movies. That's why they say Lionsgate Pictures pre-sent. Oh, what did you send me?
Right? Look, let me tell you something, Kate. Last year, I'm just 20 minutes away from Hollywood, and part of me was going, I don't watch TV, but I do watch movies. My father is a projectionist. Has been for many, many, many years, and the whole family, we're movie buffs, and we love to sit and watch them and try to figure out their meanings. But as of about 12 months ago, I started seeing, these little synchronicities and so many movies and cartoons, and just like, and I never really had a way. It didn't have a Black's Law 9th edition dictionary to sit and decode this. All I could do was roll it around in my head. And there are so many movies, every one of them. You can get a present present to you if you know how to decode it and decipher what is being said to you in this movie. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, again, by the way, Scott, have you got a copy of the Black's Law 9th edition?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you have a copy of the Black's Law Dictionary, 9th edition?
Check your box, Scott.
That's a very subtle hint.
Merry Christmas, Scott.
Merry Christmas, I love you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now you do.
Yeah, I just got this copy of Black's Law Dictionary, 9th edition.
Isn't that funny how some fairy must have sent it to you. Oh my God. I got to tell you, Scott, it doesn't get much more fairy than me, so there you go. Anyway. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Who'd have thunk it? Anyway.
Who'd have thunk it?
Brilliant. So, custom. Yes, very nice.
Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do, Scott, is I'm going to explain to you how to use the magic book. By the way, one of the things that was decoded, E pluribus tremble from the Gravity Falls actually is an anagram for the Supreme Bible. Oh,
wow!
What are the odds? Anyway, so the Supreme Bible, there's 2 books in the series, Book 2 and 3. There's never any showing of Book 1, so you know there's another book that's missing, and that book is the Consciousness Edition, published by none other than Wicked Witch of the West Publishing, and it's a beautiful emerald green book. Imagine that, Emerald City.
Emerald City?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and by the way, there's don't grab this right away, but here's an essay that I just put it in there. Don't grab it just yet. Wait till the Black's Law gets there, which will just be a minute or so, and then grab that. But I think you'll appreciate that essay. It'll actually bring a few things into focus. In order to use the Black's Law magic book, what you have to do is find your coincidences. Like when I go through movies or whatever, I'll look up anytime something is mentioned three times, or I'll give you an example. In the movie The Postman with Kevin Costner, there's one scene where he's walking up with his Abby, and he looks at her and he says, "Have you ever been to St. Rose, Abbey?" So I think, oh, St. Rose Abbey, I wonder. So anyway, I went trailing that one down. But here's the interesting thing. St. Rose is in Oregon, and guess where Gravity Falls cartoon series is based? Oregon. And here's something else that you might find interesting in regards to the adoption. Just remember what I just said there. Now, birth certificate. A formal, I'm sure I got the right one here. Yeah, here it is. Birth certificate. This is from Black's Law. A formal document that records a person's birth date, birthplace, and parentage. In all 50 states, everywhere in the world, by the way, an adopted child receives a second birth certificate reflecting his or her adoptive parents. That, so do we, because the state is pretending to be our adoptive parents. In such a case, the original birth certificate is usually sealed and can be opened only by court order. Imagine that. Some states allow limited access, depending on the year when an adoptee was born, and sometimes on whether the birth parents consent. The trend today is to open records if, 1, both the child and biological parent consent, for example, through an adoption registry, or 2, the child requests and upon notification the biological parent does not veto the request. Oregon enacted the first statute to permit access to birth records upon the unilateral demand of the adopted child, once the child reaches the age of majority. Are you guys over 18?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, well, let me see. I'll read this again. Oregon enacted the first statute to permit access to birth records upon the unilateral demand, means you, of the adopted child, because that's what we are in their eyes, once you reach the age of majority. Now, in the case of children, that's what you can do. You can do it for them. Mm. So how quickly can you say the system is screwed?
Yeah. Kate, what were you just reading from again?
It's the definition of birth certificate in Black's Magic Book.
Okay. All right.
Magic Book. Yeah.
Now, the Black Magic Book, yeah.
Here's another book called The Black Book of the Exchequer. This also is in Black's Law. History. a record book containing treaties, conventions, charters, papal bulls, and other English state documents. It dates from the 13th century. Oh, that sounds like Eddie Longshanks. That's the first. Also termed Liber Major Parvis. LNP. There's also the Black Book of the Admiralty, which is English law, and you might want to look this up. If you want a copy of the Rules of Oleron, let me know, but here it is. English law, a medieval code of maritime law containing admiralty laws, ordinances and proceedings, decisions and acts of the monarch, the Lord High Admiral, and the Court of Admiralty. The Black Book is considered a definitive source for customary English maritime law. There's that word, customary. It also contains a copy of the Rules of Oleron, an 11th century compilation of common maritime law. Sharon, you might want to have a look at that. Want a copy? Give me a sec.
I do.
Yep. I think that aspect of customs trumping law, like you said, with the cannibals. What was it?
Custom always trumps law because in the culture of cannibals, it's customary to eat human flesh. It's not against the law.
Yeah.
Custom trumps law. The overall consensus of the people always trumps the law. End of story. Any questions?
Yes. So, by the sound of it, the trick is to get hold of this short form birth certificate, which, going back to that reference about once you're over the age of majority, or even for your children, you can request that.
Absolutely you can. You don't request anything. Give me the damn thing. I don't request anything. It is mine. Give it to me. Thank you very much.
Demand it.
By the way, don't take no for an answer. 3 times they have to give it up. That's all you got to do is be persistent. What did Doug say? Just tap your heels together 3 times and say, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, and whammo, where was Dorothy? She woke up.
Yep.
It was all just a dream. Welcome to the dream, guys. This is the show of shows. Time to wake up. Wake up, William. Wake up.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I went looking for Nocta Prima Noctis because I knew it was in Braveheart. So I found that beautiful scene. The guy that played Eddie Longshanks was beautiful. What an amazing actor. You just love to hate him. And he says, if we can't get the Scots out of, if we can't force them out, we'll breed them out.
Breed them out.
So he invoked the custom of Prima Noctis, where the Lord would bed the maidens on their wedding night. So let's say there's 40 or 50, weddings in a Lord's district over the course of a year. And if he's out boning every one of these girls, the chances are that he might have 1 or 2 kids. So there's the assumption or the presumption that possibly these nobles that were owned by allegiance to the crown, where it could be assumed that possibly, maybe, sure, well, they're going to have to do a whole shit pile of investigation of that. Go back through the mitochondrial DNA to prove that I'm not related to them. And I think that's a hell of a pile of hay to find a needle. And sorry, guys, game over. You're done. That's it. You're done.
Brilliant.
So, how you like me now? Isn't it fun? Once you start to get it, I think it's an absolute hoot. Oh, by the way, Cindy, there's a copy of the Rules of Oleron, and I should probably check this. See how much time we have because it's 1:45 now. So let me just don't mind me. I'm not even in the chat room anymore. We got 16 and a half.
Oh, I haven't been. I've been all wrapped up in this conversation. And I didn't catch that last comment you made before you said you hadn't been in the chat room. I've got the Rules of Oleron.
That's what I said. Yes, I just passed it over to you. So there you go.
Aye, thank you. Thank you.
Fascinating little read. I think you'll enjoy that. But I think, Scott, the next few days or whatever, I think we're going to have a few conversations off the air, and we're going to start having some fun and really nailing these fraudulent trustees and wannabe fiduciary beneficiaries to the cross, clausula rebus sic antibus style.
Yeah, I've got a few things I might share with you offline that I mentioned to Cindy briefly whilst you were logging back in again. But some very interesting information's come to light as well. So I'll fill you in on that one offline too.
Awesome. Yeah, you see how the end of the game is coming up? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Finish line is in the sights.
Okay, it's shining bright.
In the home stretch. Just looking for a conversation we were having last night in the chat room about the power of 3, or like you said, click your heels 3 times, where you're going to find 3 everywhere. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I got the chemtrail crap going over here. Let's see. Once, twice, 3 times a lady, 3 blind mice, the Holy Trinity, triangles.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Say it 3 times, and on the 3rd time, it's a done deal. Going once, going twice, sold to the man, number 33. Let's see what else we have here. You have 3 pyramids. 3 pyramids on the Orion's belt. 3 kings. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kate.
No, I was going to say, let's make a deal. Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3.
We didn't get that one in there last night. 3rd time's a charm. Tic-tac-toe. What's that?
Did you get 3 blind mice?
3 blind mice. Tic-tac-toe is 3 in a row to win the game. 3 peas in a pod. 3 French hens. With 3 little pigs. It came up. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock. I didn't see that one last night. 3 strikes and you're out.
Hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil.
Yes. 3 leaves of 3, let them be. Leaves of 4, eat some more. 3rd eye blind, 3 doors down. Rock, paper, scissors. There's the 3 blind mice. 3 wishes. You rub the genie, you rub the lamp, the genie comes out, you get 3 wishes. We 3 kings. There's the 1, 2, 3 in your home. Or your 3rd eye. Talking about your...
Funny, 1, 2, 3, that's the number on my letterbox.
Nice.
Scott, that's just a coincidence. Ignore it. Run away.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing.
Yeah. The wizard's busy. Close the curtain, quick. And of course, Manny has to come in with threesome. Anyway, yeah.
Sure.
My favorite Latin word is se, S-E, right? Like repetition, which actually means, when you translate it, this is what the Trinity of se means. The Holy Trinity, himself, herself, itself. You see, that's the Holy Trinity of the male, female creating the 3rd neutral, which in turn creates the 1. The 3 become the 1.
The Holy Trinity. Yeah.
We were talking earlier on about 13 as well.
Oh, yeah.
Had a meditation the other night on the 21st, and turned out to be 13 of us there, and one of the guys there had his 13th birthday.
Excellent.
So, yeah, 13 is the all-seeing eye. You know that, right? That's the letter B. It has been pulled apart. To be or not to be.
Yes.
So, to 13 or not to 13 is basically what Hamlet was saying. And again, look at the whether 'tis nobler to suffer the pains and slings of outrageous fortune, to be or not to be, is really the question, right? Now, the whole game here is, can you handle the heat of the fire? The more heat you can handle, the bigger the prize. So those that really paid the price in this Well, it's like playing a good card game. If you're not willing to play your cards and gamble with everything on the table, don't expect to walk away with much. So I know a bunch of us that are all in this game, so I guess we'll see it at the beach soon enough, eh, Scott?
With the top down.
With the top down, that's right.
Got it. I'm going to make a stop in Thailand first, but give me about a month and a half, 2 months to heal up, and I'll see you there.
No worries.
Well, I'm not going to show up and not be ready to party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the 3 platonic solids, the 3 musketeers. Look at the guys in the room. They're going nuts. Third rock from the sun. Earth. Yeah, absolutely.
I got to look at, well, I was going to say, too, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, My 3 Sons. So,
yeah, My 3 Sons indeed, huh?
Yes, My 3 Sons. Mm-hmm.
Everyone's sitting around right now trying to think of the connections of the 3, but there it is. They click your heels together 3 times. And the joy of knowing this truth, in any court, a judge, once asked 3 times, must give it up. Mm-hmm. That is law, universal law, because that is magic. We're living in a magic universe. What we're doing now is we figured out how to figure it out. So getting back to Black's Logs, I want to cover this so people, anyone that has the ninth edition, what you can do is, as soon as you find something that synchronistically resonates with you, and in particular you watch a movie and you see something that triggers, go and look that up in Black's Ninth. And if you can't find the word exactly, look at the one where it would have fit, and then read what the reference is, and bring toilet paper. You will shit yourself, I promise.
Yes, you will.
Oh, look, there's 13 people in the room right now.
Oh, excellent. There sure is.
But anyway, we got, what do we got left here? Let me just check. I'm such a tardy host here. Oh, we have 9 minutes. So
3 times 3 times, what, 3 plus 3 plus 3, my bad.
Yeah, we have consciousness right now. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Scott, yeah, just give us, I just want to hear your overview, because I know that the wheels are spinning in you right now, and that Corvette is going to be out of that customs very shortly.
Yeah, well, I want to be, I was talking about spinning the wheels last night, actually. So, yes, short form birth certificate, long form birth certificate, sounds like a demand should go into the clowns who call themselves registrars, and get a copy of that, and then start nailing them for evidence of the filing in a lawful repository with the use of a certain writ. And I can imagine these guys will be scrambling left, right, and centre.
Well, that's the thing. This is the joy of it. When you bring out the can of Raid, the cockroach is split, remember? Yep. And this is what this is. You want to talk about Raid? Well, here's a raid on your entire universe system. I think if you're looking to get a hold of the long form and the short form, the easiest way to do it is go through a third-party company that can order them, and which is normal practice. And just get your birth bonds, and you can't do anything. And again, there are details that have to. There's places that this has to go to that I have not divulged. I've given a couple of things, but there are others that are part of this loop. And the ones that, let's just say, the ones that have already got this stuff together, remember this, guys, it's not important that everybody gets through. If shall awaken. Mm-hmm. Only one has to do it. That's why only once will you ever see a judge bow to a sovereign. It'll never happen again. It only happens once. That layer got peeled. Now we're to a new layer. Now we're right down to the core, the heart, the core of this most blessed onion. All right? And that's the word, look at the word courage, comes out of 2 French words. Courage, which is heart pledge. And did you know that the tip of your nose is connected directly to your heart? And that's why the nose is the thing that leads furthest on your face. It's the most prominent feature pointing out. So you should always lead with your heart. Toucan Sam from the Fruit Loops commercials always said it. Follow your nose. What he was saying was follow your heart.
Absolutely beautiful.
I love speaking green language. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Finally got it. I finally got it nailed. So I'm just really having fun with this now. I can see all the dots, you know, and it is beautiful. It is stunningly beautiful. Everything in front of you guys, this whole planet, as you observe it, is all past. You're not in the now, because what you're looking at is something that was already built. So it is past tense. You have to get into the present. Cut the strings of your Pinocchio. So if you're in the now, you're still delayed. You've got to be into the present. And when you look at everything out around you that is past, all your clues were already there, that you present yourself. How about you go looking for them? You left the breadcrumbs. Go find them. Go play. This is a treasure hunt. This is a game of games. Okay, guys? So go and have fun.
Like Scott was saying earlier, we're looking for the solution to the problem. Well, the clues for the solution to the problem lies in the problem. And just the same as the antivenom that they make for snake bites. What is it made of?
Venom.
The venom. And what is it mixed with?
Horse's blood.
Horse's blood, because horses are immune to snake bites. So... Or snake poison. So it just, the answer to our problems are lying in the problems. You just have to go and look for them, and you'll find some amazing things.
Yeah, same rule applies with urine therapy. I love bringing this up because I got to tell you, if you want your third eye to open real quick, you want it decalcified literally within the week, drink your urine. Drink your urine. And I got to tell you, if you get ill, I'm talking not because of that. You won't. Trust me on this one. Your kidneys are the absolute balance of your body, and I need this information to get out as well. That is the absolute balance. And anything that is wrong with your body, your kidneys already know. Okay? So if your kidneys know what's going on, they have already created the anti-venom, and it comes out in that liquid gold that you piss your life away. And it contains stem cells. I mean, they had the reports about the making brain cells out of urine cells. What you're doing is those are stem cells that they will fix into anything your body needs. So when you're ingesting that, it decalcifies your pineal. I can't even begin to tell you where I'm at right now. Oh my God, to see the way I see now, I was blind a week ago. It's crazy. I love it. All right. Well, we got 3 minutes left, guys. So and let's get this show on the road.
Yes, indeed. I was just watching the chat room, and they're all fired up right now, and it's exciting times for sure. I've definitely enjoyed the pleasure of speaking to both of you tonight, and I think there's going to be some amazing, magnificent things come out of the conversation you two have after the show.
Thanks, Cindy. So, I can imagine this pre-trial hearing with that Wade hearing would shatter quite a few of the your judges would be reaching for the brown rubber safety pants.
And this is the thing too. You don't have to go in and try to say, well, I want your bond, I want this, I want that. No, I want a Wade hearing, guys. I want to make sure that that this out of court identification is lawful. And now you have the reason why it isn't, and no further bullshit required. And by the way, I'm a she. The voice is lower than tips would indicate. Go for it. That's for the new people in the chat room that are kind of confused.
Sweet.
I was waiting for it. See. Oh, we got 90 seconds left here. I'm just going to say goodnight, and you guys can Cindy, you can end off the show, but I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Syncretism Santo's show, and thank Santo for having the faith to let me take over his helm for a night again. And thank you so much, Scott and Cindy, for joining me in what has probably been one of the best 2 hours of radio I've ever done. Thank you.
Yes. I would also like to say thank you for all the people in the chat room who are sending Santos energy. He's not feeling too well today, so also very honored that I was asked to come on the show. And it was a pleasure to talk with you, Scott, and meet you finally. Had you in my friends list on Skype and didn't know who you were.
We had some confusion there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, thank you, and I'm sure we'll be speaking soon. Yeah, thanks also to Santo, and I'll touch base with him shortly too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, listen, thank you all listeners. Thank you, Scott, Cindy, and Santo, and Tony, and everybody, Miranda, and Terry, and everybody in my life. You've changed my world. Thank you so much. Hopefully I can change yours. You've been listening to Syncretism on Brains, Blog Talk Radio, Sunday night. Don't forget to join us 7 to 9 every night. There's something on Freedom Reigns. Much love, safe travels. Go make it lawful. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, we're off the air, guys, so we'll end the episode, and that way you get it. And Scott, amazing. We'll have a little chat, and I'm going to work tomorrow because I want to send this out for Christmas Eve. Of course, we're in 3 days of darkness. This is where they like to mess around, so I'm going to go into 3 days of absolute blinding light. Game on. Okay, so I'll probably catch up with you at some point tomorrow once I get this done. I'll make sure that all the pertinent people get the finished copy of it so they can see exactly what it is I've done. Okay?
Sweet,
cool.
Sweet. I can't wait to see what comes out of this.
Not much left to do, but it's almost there. There's a couple of little, I just want to make sure I throw the 9-inch spikes into the coffins.
Awesome. When would be a good time to fill you in or give you a little background on some of the info that I've come across?
Oh, whatever suits you. Hey, let me get off the show here so that we can chat, because this is in recording right now and it goes into the download. So if you want, as soon as I end this, maybe we can do a quick Skype call, the three of us.
Yep, won't take long.
Okay, no problem.
Both of you have a wonderful day and evening, and I'm going to eat supper.
Okay, so you don't want in on the call? I'll just call Scott direct, I thought.
Do what now, huh?
Did you not want in on the call?
Yes, I do. I'll buzz you when I get back. I've just got to go grab a little bite. It's been getting cold for about an hour now, and I will be right back.
Tell you what, kiddo, go eat your supper, then you call Scott and I in the conference call. So we'll wait for you. Okay, babe?
Okay, wonderful.
Love you guys. Talk to you shortly.
All right, love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.